Hello, hello, and welcome to this week's episode of The Hard Choice Simple Steps for Showing Up. My name is Brad Draper. I am your host. I am grateful to be with you. We're going to do a little mini series here. I've got 3 topics that I want to cover over the next 3 weeks. It's things that Michaela and I have been discussing for the last few days, and I've discussed this with my brother and a few other people. And I really feel like there is so much value to be had in this episode and in the next 2 episodes. There's so much value packed into your life with these little bits of information that I want you to really ponder on. Deep dive on yourself, on those around you, how you behave, how you think. I keep on having these burps. I just drank a Fresca. My goodness. Making it hard for me to breathe when I talk. So often in life, we have that. We have this understanding and this new glimpse, a new lens to which we see specific things. And in this case, seeing specific people or seeing ourselves. And as we go down the rabbit hole on these 3 next weeks, I really, really want you to analyze yourself, analyze those around you, and gain further insight. And with new insight becomes more knowledge, and more knowledge becomes more ability to take action. That's really what I want you to do. I want you to think, and I want these thoughts to precede the actions you are going to take. And then those actions you take will precede the opportunities that come forward in your life. It is those opportunities that bring a new resolve and more thought, and therefore more action and more opportunity. And you just have these opportunities stacking that you created. I said that in the last couple of episodes, where you create the opportunities that are in your life. How cool that is. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful that you listen to these episodes. I have constant communication with so many people that listen to these shows, and it's so cool to hear from people that have listened and learned and applied and grown simply because I sit in front of this camera and in front of this microphone and I talk. And I share my experiences. I share my thoughts. This is me taking action on the thoughts that I had. And then opportunity arises for me and for you. And how cool that is. But topic numero uno, the marshmallow. If you recall, there was a study done. I don't remember if it was the 70s or the 80s, somewhere around there. And this study took a slew of children. These children, they put them in an isolated room and they bring out a mini marshmallow. And they say, if you don't eat that marshmallow, in a few minutes, we will bring out another marshmallow and you can have another one too. But if you eat that one right now, you cannot have the next one. And this whole study was on impulse control, self-control, and what you do when an opportunity is placed in front of you. Some kids would fidget, kids would poke, some kids instantaneously ate it. Like there was no thought. They saw the marshmallow, they grabbed it, they ate it. And these kids were young. They were sub 7, sub 8 years old, somewhere in the 5 to 8 years old range. I don't recall, but they were young. And the kids that ate it fast versus the kids that poked it and tried really hard and tried to turn away from it so they didn't see it, just as a little kid would do, right? Do all these silly little quirky things. Some kids could endure, some kids couldn't. Some kids tried to endure and ultimately ate the marshmallow in front of them. Some could just sit there and stare at it until another marshmallow came, and then they were told, good job, you passed the test, quote unquote. There was no real test. They were just studying behavior pattern. Well, those same kids, over the course of the next few decades, I want to say it was in the 70s, because I want to say in the next 40 years, they followed these same kids. And there were some behavioral patterns. Those kids that had very little impulse control, they struggled in life. They had little impulse control even as adults. And they did things without a lot of thought, and they did a little bit more risky things. And ultimately there was more substance addiction and just more addiction in general for those kids that had little or no impulse control. And those kids that struggled but ultimately failed, they They not necessarily struggled in life, but they could have had wiser choices. And those people that had delayed gratification, they had impulse control, they had self control. They, by and large, and these are very umbrella statements, but they, by and large, were more successful. They were more of your executives. They were more higher up the food chain in the world ecosystem. And those were pretty generic, but they were teaching delayed gratification and impulse control. And that was a study that took over decades to complete. And I was really pondering about this marshmallow test. I've kind of laughed at myself and inserted myself with my thoughts. What would I have done? From my known behavior, I know myself fairly well. I do a lot of internal work, I do a lot of mindset training, and have my whole life. I am the kind of person that would ask the question early on. I wouldn't just sit there and wait. I would actually ask questions because that's just who I am. And I would say, how long do I need to wait till I can get the most amount of marshmallows? What is that time frame? I want the whole bag. I don't want one marshmallow. I don't want two marshmallows. I want the whole bag. How long do I have to wait to get that? And I'll wait that long. And that's kind of me. We laugh, my wife and I, because when it comes to spending things, I'm not a big spender. I don't buy things frivolously. I buy what's on the grocery list, and that's basically it. However, I will save up for large ticket items. Instead of buying, like this camera, for instance, instead of just going and getting a camera for $100, I will wait and buy the $2,000 or $3,000 camera. And if it's out of my budget, I will do things to make it in my budget. I will sell stuff. I will move stuff. I will be very entrepreneurial in general to get what I want. And what I want are more expensive, larger, higher class things. And this weekend, Michaela and I went to St. George. For those that don't know, that's southern Utah. It is red rocks. It's super pretty. It's a lot warmer than Salt Lake year round. In the summer, it can get blisteringly hot. In the winter, it's very mild and very nice. So we had a Valentine's weekend delayed for us, had a kid-free weekend, and we just shot down on a Saturday morning. It's 4 hours from our house. So pretty close. We shot down, spent the day doing parade of homes, looking at homes. It was super fun. And came back Sunday afternoon. So we were just down there for basically 24 hours. And it was a fun little getaway. It was a fun retreat. But while we were down there looking at parade of homes, we were looking at homes ranging between $3 and $12 million, anywhere from 6,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet. And looking at these homes, we were hearing people talk, right? We're hearing people discuss. And I personally have friends that are in the commercial and real estate industries heavily. I have a lot of friends in actually both industries. And I have some friends that syndicate into Airbnbs. They syndicate into a little bit more luxurious homes in luxury locations for vacations and things. And they syndicate. Syndication is when you have a group of people pool their money together to buy something they could not do on their own. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. You get 10 people putting $1,000 in to get $10,000 to do something versus you doing $10,000 on your own. So that's syndication. And these people, they syndicate homes all over the world. And I was telling Michaela, we went to a neighborhood where one of these Airbnbs was, and this neighborhood is also where we have friends that have a home. They syndicated right there. And I was telling Michaela, my wife, about this concept of the marshmallow. So often people want a piece of the pie, regardless of how small their piece is. They don't care. They just want a bite of the pie. Similar to these kids with the marshmallows. They would rather have a piece of a marshmallow every 30 seconds or every minute, never really being satiated, never really filling their bellies, never really getting the full experience, but just a little taste over and over and over and over. And then you have the opposite side. And I was telling Michaela how I am not that kind of person. I would never, at least my current state, so I can't say never, I'm not really big on ultimatums um, or ultimate examples. I unlikely would ever syndicate in a home with greater than one or two other people. And one or two other people would probably be my business partners. I may syndicate a home with a business partner or two, maybe, big maybe. But outside of that, I would never do that because generally in syndications with these multi-million dollar homes, you only own 1/10, 1/20th, 1/30th, 1/50th, 1/100th of that property. And if you own 1/25th of the property, you get it 2 weeks out of the year. That's it. And if you Airbnb it, well, if everybody uses their 2 weeks, it doesn't Airbnb at all. And so it doesn't cash flow at all. It's just a vacation home that you paid such and such dollars for, probably 50 to 100,000. Depends on the value of the home. That becomes very expensive to be able to go to that home. And it's not cash flowing. And if it does cash flow, you get such a small portion. And yes, it adds up over time. It might take a decade to make your money back, but I like things a little bit faster than that. A lot faster than that, actually. I'm more of like a 2 to 5 year return kind of person. Ideally, I'm like in the next year or two return at most. I prefer like this month return. But it's just different kinds of people. And I'm not saying that one is better than another. It's just different personality types. It's kind of like we were seeing these homes and we saw this French European style, which is not my style at all. Gorgeous home, not my style. But other people, they were drooling. They're saying, "This is amazing. This is the most beautiful home I've ever seen. I would love this house." What I'm saying, it's a very pretty home. I would never want to live here. I would never buy it for any reason because I don't like it. We see colors, we see shapes. Our brains interpret shapes and designs and colors and environment differently. So we like different things. And just like that, you've got this marshmallow concept. Some people like slivers over and over and over and again. And they can say, I have a house here, I have a house there, I have a house in St. George, I have a house in Florida or California or Hawaii or London. But you don't actually do. You do. You're on the reports. But do you really? Can you do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whomever you want in that space? That's my interpretation of having a house. My house right here where I'm recording, I could do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, however I want. Doesn't matter. I can throw a party here. I can spend the night here. I can have as many friends over as I want. I can have nobody over if I want. I can do whatever I want because it's my house. I'm on the deed. I'm on the property. It's my house, right? I want to be able to do what I want when I want. And that goes the same for vacation homes, for real estate properties and projects, specifically residential that I want to live in, not just something I want to invest with other people. But with real estate or residential real estate specifically, and that's mostly what I'm specifically talking about with this episode and syndications, and that I would rather just do it either myself or with one other person. It is this concept of, are you the type that wants a sliver over and over and over again? Or are you the type that says, how long do I need to wait to get the whole bag? How long do I need to wait to buy the entire 4, 5, $10 million house as a vacation home or as an Airbnb? How long do I have to wait to have 5 houses, 10 houses? How long do I have to wait to get whatever I want, to do whatever I want, with whomever I want, whenever I want? I want you to think about this topic with you, with yourself, and who you are. Are you the sliver type? Or are you the patiently waiting, delayed gratification, aggressive patience? Because keep in mind when I said, I'm not the one to just sit there and wait endlessly, indefinitely. I'm the one that's going to sit there, ask the questions, and then wait. I will learn as much information as I can, and I will wait for as long as is necessary to get what I want. That's me. What are you? What is your thought process? How do you process these concepts? And then it might make a little bit more sense on why you do the way you do the things that you do. It will make a little more sense on how you get to where you're trying to go. Are you going to go piece by piece by piece by piece? At least you have a piece and at least you have a taste. Or are you willing to go without for extended periods of time to get what you want? Think about it. Have this conversation with your friends and your family. Share this episode. It is the only way that it grows. This is a truly organic series. I'm so excited for the next 2 episodes and this personal thought, how you process things series. Like this thing, subscribe to it, download it for future listenings. You can find me on social, Mr. Brad Draper, on all platforms. Until next week, I love you guys. Bye.